And I think one of the things that the Crossroads report does for each of us is it reminds us that our journey is not done. Just when we think we've got some really good stuff happening, it gives us that impetus to keep going and realize that we have more to do. Now, one of the things that Alex just talked about, obviously, was place. Where's the spiritual home for startups? What do we need to do to create that? Because if we look at other different ecosystems around the world, we know that if you're all geographically located in the same place, then you're just more likely to create those positive collisions, those collaborations that end up becoming potential new startups, new ideas that just got formed. And we need it. And we need that place to bring together all types of the ecosystem as well. So founders, investors, mentors, service providers, educators, students, all of this needs a sort of a center of gravity to bring everybody back to the same place. We also need that place so that we can increase the pace of learning. And the pace of learning is so important when we consider, how quickly technologies shift and how quickly different ways of working move on. So if we were able to bring all of these things into one place, I firmly believe that we would start to see a big shift for the Australian ecosystem. Tonight, I'm delighted to announce the commitment to that place. That place will be Lighthouse, and Lighthouse will be a startup precinct that will promote open innovation and collaboration. We want Lighthouse to be the home for founders from across the entire spectrum of the ecosystem. So whether you're just somebody who wants to retrain and learn new skills, whether you're a kid coming out of university going, I want to be a founder, but I don't know where to start. We will have an open space that's free for everybody to come in, to learn, to start to integrate with the ecosystem, to pick up those skills that you desperately need to be able to start. Happily, we'll also have places for you to grow into, so that as you start to validate your idea and get to that magical moment of product market fit, we will still have place for you to grow into as well. And here's where it gets interesting. How do you pay for that? It's going to be done on a pay it forward kind of rental model. So the bigger you are and the more that you've grown, the more you pay. The incentive for doing that is so that the rest of the community gets to benefit from you doing well, so that you can open the door for the next guys coming in behind you. Of course, to make that work at scale, we need more help. So there are many organizations out there already who can benefit and talk about the benefits of having invested in early stage startups by giving them free or discounted services of their solutions. We encourage more corporates to do the same so that they can subsidize the space so that these startups get that fabulous start in life that they need. And of course, to be even more sustainable, we need for the entire part of this circle to give. So we're asking for startups to pay it forward with their time, with their connections, with their stories of growth, so that we can transfer that knowledge from them to the next generation coming forward. And ideally an exit pledge. So if you do well, you give a small percentage of that back to the community so that everybody still gets to benefit and still gets to start their journey too. I'm going to give you a little personal story now. So 2 years ago, I started a nonprofit, or just over 2 years ago, started a nonprofit called Code Club. We started with 10 schools. We're now at well over 1,500. And that was done with a little bit of guts and glory, of course, but a lot of help. But here's the thing, 60,000 children are now learning to code for free as a result of that program. Imagine what we could do if we could create the next generation of founders, thousands of them going through our program at Lighthouse, to turn them into the innovators of the future. In another 2 years, I want to be standing on a stage very similar to this one with those kinds of crazy numbers to tell you how much we've managed to move the ecosystem forward. And then just think of the ripple effect of those success stories. I'm so excited about Lighthouse. I'm incredibly proud of the idea itself. And of course, we can't do it without you, because without you, it won't work. But before we go into a little bit more of that nuts and bolts, It's important that we share with you our principles and the foundation of what we've built for Lighthouse, because we want to share that and make sure that the people that we work with feel the same and have the same passions. We are first and foremost all about entrepreneurs. It's all about making sure that the founders have access to the things they need, to the skills they absolutely need to learn, and get them through those first few phases so they can start to scale. It's about egalitarianism. We want for this education to be shared with as many people as possible. If you want the chance, you want to relearn your skills so that you can become a founder that can change the world, we absolutely want to help you, no matter where you come from. Openness is the next. Openness for us means everything that we do in Lighthouse we will share. There is no black box. That IP is something that we will share with you, no matter what. Continual improvement, we all know this one from startups anyway. We have to keep innovating, we have to keep learning, we have to keep moving forward and always evolving to make sure that we're as effective as we possibly can be. And the final one, and this will be no surprise to anyone who knows me, is pay it forward. We all know that the best ecosystems in the world do well because we all help each other, we pay things forward. And we need to see that pay it forward come in all of the different formats. So showing gratitude by sharing your best learnings with the community, with your time to mentor, with your progress stories to inspire others. Maybe you're a corporate very nearby and you want to share some space as well. Fantastic, everybody can give something. Maybe you want to sponsor and give some dollars, again, that's great too. And maybe you want to share your exit pledge so that you can pledge a small percentage of your success so that others get to emulate what you've done. I'm delighted to say we already have some fantastic people on board with the team. Our advisory board is pretty blooming epic, I have to say. So I'm joining as CEO in the new year. Alongside me on the board will be Anthony Farrow, who, if you don't know him, he's actually sat alongside me on the board of Code Club for the last 3 years. He's the founder of an extraordinary software company called Vivant, and probably one of the least talked about people within the ecosystem, and a bit of a gem. So if you don't know him yet, please find him later and talk to him. We have Susan Wu. I'm sure most of you know Susan. She has an extraordinary history of helping phenomenally huge businesses, growth businesses, including Twitter, Square, Reddit, Canva. Seriously, what she doesn't know is probably not worth knowing. Peter Hyun, for those of you who don't know Peter, he's a partner and founded a company called Qualgrow, which is a VC fund based here and in Singapore. And of course, Ted Pretty. So if you don't know Ted, he's decades of experience in the investment banking and VC world, having worked for Macquarie Group, RP Data, and Fujitsu. So it's a fantastic, diverse board of experience internationally, as well as here in Australia. And we've already identified a number of companies who we're talking to become the anchor tenants of the building. Now, I'm sure many of you have got a bunch of questions. When do we open? Where's it going to be? How much is it going to cost? Hold those thoughts, guys. We're not quite ready to announce all that specific detail just yet. Being brutally honest, we only got to the point where we could announce literally today. This is the first moment that we could share what we're doing with the community, and hopefully you can see that we've invited as many people as we possibly could. It being on the same day as Crossroads coming out was real serendipity, but hey, you've got to take those moments where you can. So please do hold those thoughts. If you do have questions, come find me afterwards if you'd like to talk more. And in closing, I did just want to say this is the very first day of what we believe is a very exciting new chapter for startups here in Sydney. We obviously want to get your feedback on how we can make sure that that's as perfect and as brilliant as it possibly can be. So if you have ideas or burning things that you want to share with us, please come find me. You know where I am. And also make sure that you share the message. And if you know of founders or individuals who want to get involved, please register on the website for interest. We're also going to host tours around the facility as well. So please register your interest so we can make sure we get those covered. So today really is just the beginning. Thank you so much for listening, and I am going to pass back to Teresa to close.